RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief, our fun little video offering. We do... Actually, I think we're doing it public here for the week heading up here to this Black Friday event. Maybe show you a few things, little neat tricks that we can use the platform to help us see. And also, too, maybe a little bit of interaction. You can see what the Beamish is seeing on top of the Sunday free broadcast. So we'll be doing this, I guess, today, Wednesday and Friday, and then Julian has his broadcast that he does on Thursdays. I'm not quite sure where to take this conversation today. We did have some leftover questions from the AMA document yesterday, so we'll probably take a look at that. Other than that, if anything, I was actually quite surprised and pleasantly pleased, I suppose. We all want to make money. Being long the market, of course, this audience likes its crypto. So there's probably opportunities if the S&P 500 breadth looks like that. Probably we should see a relatively friendly market. Although it is interesting to see that the crypto market went egregiously overbought very, very quickly. And I think probably if you follow my Twitter feed, you see a whole bunch of banging out doubles kind of notifications. And crypto's been kind of floundering here a little bit. So I'm not, ironically enough, I'm not as enthusiastic about crypto as I am the broader market. And also, too, we have talked a little bit about this. Obviously, crypto being a technology proxy, and then us seeing what's happening with semiconductor darlings like NVIDIA. Interestingly enough, kind of puking out here a bit. We talked through the NVIDIA earnings event about maybe a potential diamond here forming with this insane price action like this. Yeah, it looks like the diamond's actually resolved to the downside here for this previous market darling. I would imagine that this push to new highs here actually created probably quite a bit of divergence in momentum indicators and such. So as a result, things like tech indexes, beloved semiconductor sector, it's not really doing much here today, even though broader stock market, and it's interesting to see the Russell 2000 is actually leading the charge here, sort of the broader market. Keep in mind, there's like 10,000 stocks listed in the North American market, at least, if not a lot more. And this is a much broader measure of sort of stocks, health and performance in the economy. And you can kind of see it here in the market carpet. NVIDIA here, not very happy. Interesting, though, you can actually see a lot of the semiconductor names themselves, though, the little ones, feeling a lot better. And interesting to see crude looking kind of heavy here now. And if anything, I think the news du jour, it ironically enough, it actually does make sense. I think specifically the market, especially if we look at things like the bond market, very, very happy on the announcement of the headline here. Probably the biggest news, if there's anything driving the market. Keep in mind, there's really not too many econs out today. But CNBC announced, of course, everybody and their brother, but I happen to just have this article. Treasury pick, Mr. Scott Bessent, basically a hedge fund manager The consensus is that he's probably going to temper Mr. Trump's enthusiasm to tariff the shit out of the world. I think on balance, people are expecting that the tariffs are coming. It's just a question of how you message it. How do you sort of, stagger it so it doesn't like become overwhelming for the market? And I think the consensus is that he's going to help a lot with sort of, keeping Mr. Trump sort of on the straight and narrow. Watered down. That's what they're probably going to call it. Also, too, Mr. Trump, of course, would like to try and, if not add new tax cuts, just sort of ensure that his previous tax cuts from his previous presidency are sort of made permanent. And I also think, too, that the market caught a real shot in the arm with the announcement that Mr. Trump has all full plans to get things like the XL pipeline back up and running. Why Mr. Biden killed it, no idea. Obviously, total politics. But in a weird sort of way, that Keystone Pipeline actually, I think, would actually make all of our lives a lot better because you're going to see oil prices fall. So some of the headlines here, I thought this was interesting. Keystone XL pipeline executives are on cloud nine as Trump reportedly plans to revive the project. And also, too, I think Mr. Trump plans to get some serious Alaskan oil onto the market as well. So put it all together, and really this is what should happen in this particular part of the cycle. You're probably going to see energy prices come off appreciably over the next, probably 5-10 years as all of these sort of pieces are put into motion here. And thank God. I mean, God, the sooner we get out of this stupid battery car nonsense world, the better. And there's no reasons why you can't incentivize carbon capture technology. In fact, a big portion of Canada's economy is very oil related, and actually they have been mandated by local governments to be working on things like carbon capture technology. And I have a funny feeling that's probably a pretty easy way to offset the CO2. And the irony of it all is if you actually ask Mother Earth, Mother Earth loves the additional CO2. That's the hilarious part about it. I talked to all of you recently about how the Earth is actually getting greener. And a lot of places on the planet that were basically arid and dry and desolate are actually turning back into forest and back into grasslands because of the added CO2. So what a joke, eh? If anything, that is the absolute perfect analogy of this stupid human species and the way that, banksters and, people who are heavy shareholders of these battery powered car companies completely manipulate the narrative to do nothing more than just achieve their financial objectives. And that silly Bank of Canada governor is such a traitor to our nation. Saying banks are going to extend $100 trillion in lending so that we can build out this battery powered car world. And of course, if you actually look at the mechanics of it, it doesn't make any sense at all. So anyway, long and short of it here, I think the energy market itself could actually come under a lot of pressure here over the next little while. It is interesting how we were watching energy prices melt down here this morning. I did take a couple long shots today on the crude, came into some levels, got stopped out at scratch on 2 attempts. But it's a trader's life. That's the way it goes. And if anything, better you get stopped at scratch than lose money. Interesting to see that the broader risk market seems to be running out of momentum here as the morning is progressing. And again, that NASDAQ, keep in mind that NASDAQ and Republicans don't really get along very well. Billy Gates, of course, is totally in bed with the Democrats and, you will eat bugs and be happy and all that crap. And I would imagine most of these tech company people are pretty in bed with the Democrat Party. So hopefully we can all get back to eating steaks and put these goddamn bugs conversations away. And I think, one of the big sort of beneficiaries coming out of this weekend with the announcement of that planned Treasury Secretary was the bond market actually caught quite a bit here. And actually, this is an interesting conversation because, our buddy Hugh Hendry, of course, he's uber bullish of the bonds. It's what makes a horse race. Where is, I thought I had a bond chart up here. Yeah, there we go. So you can see the TLTs, that other chart here, this is the future. So they're kind of like just grinding their way. TLTs, of course, not open after hours. So as soon as the retail market opens, you can see that the market just vaulted higher here, huge gap higher. And of course, Brian, he loves his reload zones. If anything, this is a really good analogy of I used to work with a guy, Brandon, a million years ago, and he was affectionately called Mountain Man in the Top Step trading crude oil pits. I always liked working with Brandon. But anyway, point of the matter here is that basically has him written all over it. This is a position trade, but nonetheless, you can see the logic. If you drill down to like a 1 hour chart and saw the same pattern, maybe you'd be willing to bet dollars to donuts he'd be in there buying that level. So anyway, interesting to see. Price has spiked violently away from that level. This actually might be a good example of that ICT guy kind of setup. So you can see his market structure shift, and then these fair value gaps, I think he likes to call them. I don't know, so setups or setups or setups, something like that. Is this now going to be, I think he likes to have one up at the top end of his range where it's sort of focused. This is the sort of straight line move down. I'm not even quite sure where you draw that one, maybe off of that high, I don't know. But point of the matter here is I would be very interested, ironically enough, just like we have there off of the Mountain Man level on the downside, I'd be very interested in hunting a short if we can get back up here and start filling in these gaps up against here. And I've just noticed personally that this market structure shift fair value gap concept works very, very well. If you just really focus in on good old Mountain Man level. So anyway, notice a pretty big gap right here. Probably that gap needs filling in as well. Maybe even those, but anyway, that's probably the biggest sort of event that came out of the weekend news. And as a result, the stocks were much, much happier because obviously that's bond prices up means interest rates down. So anything that's sort of like interest rate sensitive in our society, it's benefiting. And you could make the argument that a lot of smaller companies in our society are kind of like that Japanese scenario, walking zombies. They're up to their tits in debt. Every few years when we have to roll the debt over, there's some big crisis. That basically was what that whole 2020 shit was all about. Oh yeah, there happened to be a flu bug sprinkled in there. What a joke. Anyway, so not a big surprise. The small caps are really the ones that are benefiting in this kind of environment. And interesting to see, as I said before, NASDAQ and these big tech stocks, they don't get along very well with the Republican Party. And frankly speaking, I don't blame them. I mean, you could make the argument that these boxes are way too big. I mean, wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to be like a capitalist competition, fair ground? Everybody's competing against each other for market share. I mean, we got into a situation where you have basically, what do they call them? Like the Magnificent Seven or something like that. And really, these people are just oligarchs. And sadly, I think you can make the argument that the Democrat Party, they like that oligarchy kind of society. And you look at the little socialist communist bastard that's running my country, he loves this oligarch kind of scenario. It's just, it's tragic because in my country, the oligarchs are even getting even more powerful. In the food industry, big player in Canadian grocery store business, Safeway. Jojo, she used to work for them for a long time. And they were just bought out by another one of these big national grocery stores. And of course, mom and pop grocery stores, they basically disappeared. They've just all been put out of business by these big box stores. And I don't think societies are well served by this. So, if anything, I kind of like the idea that these big bastards are all going to be cut down to size and we get a little bit more competition and sort of, free market kind of behavior in the marketplace. That's what I'd like to see. Not a big surprise. We have been talking recently about how SMH is the ultimate leading indicator in the stock market. SMH not really overly happy right now. And the darling of the semiconductor industry looking kind of heavy here right now. Interesting. My little contrarian play, Intel, catching a bit of a bid. And you can see some of these other semiconductor stocks catching a bit of a bid. I know one of our site OGs is super interested in AMD. I think I've said before, I really need this thing to get on the other side of this trend line and then put in market structure for me to get uber bullish. But I suppose you can see there's a pretty big gap up here. So any kind of news that AMD is coming out with a better product, well, maybe that's what that'll break that trend line. And then let's see if a W can come in here. Only time will tell. Not really anything I can get too excited about just yet. Let's see. Looking at the broader market, it is interesting to see the gold coming off. I suppose with the bonds happier, that should put pressure, of course, downward pressure on interest rates. As I said there a moment ago, Trump's formally said he's going to get the Keystone Pipeline back up and running. Well, at least the construction of it, get those. And keep in mind, there is a lot of crude oil sitting up here in China that's just waiting to hit the market in the form of what they call butamin. So I would imagine the politicians from Alberta, in fact, in Meg's country, they're probably pretty happy right now, seeing the way things are going. And of course, unfortunately, last part of this conversation, good old Bitcoin. And crypto. So you could make the argument Bitcoin crypto falls under that technology umbrella. So it's going to be a little bit heavy there. And you could make the argument Bitcoin, especially POW, falls under the category of inflation hedge and sort of like a proxy to offset the insane money printing. I think we're getting two very clear messages here today about not really deflate. I mean, we'd love to get deflation. Of course, all the bankster crooks, they'll die 1,000 deaths if we get deflation, because it means their business model will just fall apart, and you'd probably actually see the stock market come back off. Because keep in mind, stocks are a leading indicator. In fact, the stock market is the ultimate leading indicator. And of course, our semiconductors are the ultimate leading indicator. for society. So if we actually do get into this deflationary scenario, don't be surprised if you actually see stocks come off as well. And then we sort of set a base, and then we get ready for sort of the next sort of iteration of what the economy is going to look like. I don't think that the economy is going to look anything at all like what we just had to suffer through over the past 5-6 years here. My hunch is that we are now fully into this growth cycle, and we should be out there hunting for growth ideas. The problem here, of course, is don't chase. Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. And I think that's half the problem, like in the gold market, for example. And in fact, we even had this conversation recently. Actually, probably not with the public, but if we look at equity clock, in fact, I just had this class with the level 3ers trading the market seasonally. So they're all familiar with it. But if we look at, the sector rotation, wow, that seems awfully big. Just what to expect. And if we scroll down to gold, you can actually see that gold's window here actually closed October 10th. Is when you were supposed to actually be maybe lightening up a bit on gold and let everything settle down. And you can see things like silver, copper, and platinum and stuff. They don't kick in. Their bull doesn't really kick in until the other side of the irrational exuberance window. And we've talked lots about that. If anything, we should be expecting a bit of a pause here in the broader market on the other side of this Thanksgiving holiday weekend, which, oh, by the way, is here. It's now. I don't know whether you're going to see a hell of a lot more up in the market right now. We do have some more inflation numbers coming out through the week, so you might get a bit up here. But, Thursday is actually the official holiday, which is kind of weird. Friday will be a very shortened session, and you're probably not going to find too many people are even going to be around. Of course, Brian, because he's a nut, he'll be definitely online, I suppose, with all our crypto kids. Nothing really changes with crypto. If anything, you have to be very, very careful through these holiday long weekends when you're trading crypto and Bitcoin. That's usually when they like to really F with the market. And then, like I said, following this holiday weekend, we will be into the irrational exuberance window, where usually there's some sort of like maybe short-term top and a little bit of a sharp break about the first or second week of December as we sort of muddle through that sort of turkey hangover. So, be prepared. Don't be shocked if number one, we're probably just going to chop around sideways here through the next few days, and then coming back from the holiday weekend. Keep in mind, Joey has got to sit at the family Thanksgiving table, and he has to face his daughter, who he told Bitcoin was a fraud. And now his daughter is going to say, all right, Mr. Smarty Pants, $100,000 Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin still a fraud? So you can imagine he is not looking forward to that conversation whatsoever. So could they maybe knock Bitcoin down like 10 G's or something here, just to shock the shit out of the kids here, just to so they sit at the Thanksgiving table and go, well, it just dropped 10%. Yeah, there's your good quality investment, which of course, is total bullshit and all that. So it should be an interesting week. I'm not really looking for a hell of a lot of fireworks either to the up or downside. In fact, with the crude, the market came off a good couple dollars. And the only reason why I was long hunting was because I really don't expect crude to like really trend too violently any one direction or another. And probably by the end of the day, it'll just return back to the mean as we work our way through this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. That's my hunch. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So the point being that should we be bullish of gold here right now? I don't think so. Then you actually look at the gold chart itself. And keep in mind, and actually I've been walking you through this scenario with Newmont. So Newmont's actually playing out exactly as we were kind of predicting. Actually, not we, I was predicting. I should stop saying the we kind of conversation. This is really my research. And as a result, my opinion and my neck in the noose if things don't go the way that I'm saying here. So anyway, point of the matter here is we've been showing you this study going back in the 1980s. And I bet a lot of people were kind of like, oh, there's no way gold's going to come off. And yet, I have to say, this is pretty darn, I think it was this one. It was pretty darn close. So here's the 1980s. Oh boy, better do your Black Friday stuff. Here's the 1980s on Newmont, and I got the impression that sort of coming out of the 70s and the dead cat bounces rally up into sort of reload short zones, all that. Then a pullback into sort of like 1984, 1985 kind of idea, probably latter part of 84, beginning of 85. And then look at what's coming down the pike. Holy Shiite Muslim. So, where are we on this? I think we're probably somewhere like right in here right now. So, the next few months are not going to be really too exciting in the gold market, I think. And, this was the sort of roadmap when I first put this together. We just had the big rally. Then we just had the big break. And like I said, I think we're sort of right about here right now. So if we go look at the gold chart, there it is. So there was the big rally. I was actually expecting this to get up to Mountain Man. So I'm actually very surprised that it's stalled at 50%. But in essence, that's this move up here. Then we just like absolutely puked out. And interesting enough too, this is on like potential news that countries are going to like literally nationalize gold mines that these companies own, which does happen in this world. I mean, this is a nasty, nasty world. You see what that jerk in Eastern Europe's doing right now. Uh, these people will kill you for their money if they can get away with it. Yeah, murder, no big deal. Theft, yeah, caveat emptor. What is it? Possession is 9/10 of the law. Anyway, so point here was looking for a dip back down into reload zones, and really, as soon as this darn thing bases out, oh boy, this I think is going to be one hell of a window here. So that's going back to this scenario. So I think we're kind of like right in here right now. Still got some work to do. Probably going to take another 6 months or so for this to turn around. And really, this would be sort of like we're going to have the honeymoon with Mr. Trump. He's going to jam through all of this oil stuff. Maybe he's going to force peace in Eastern Europe. Who knows? I get the impression that that's just going to continue on. Point here is I wouldn't be surprised. Like usually they say the first 100 days of a presidency, like if anything's going to get done, it will be done in that 100 days. And then they spend basically the rest 2 or 3 years following just trying to basically execute on that plan that they proposed in the first 100 days. So, that first 100 days, that would take us into like what, March, right? Well, no, actually, well beyond that. February 20th will be 1 month. March 20th will be 2 months. April 20th will be 3 months, right? So that's 90 days. So we're talking like the 1st of May will be the end of that first 100 days. And then my hunch is that sort of, that May window, that's probably, think about, sell in May and walk away kind of idea. Probably any names that are going to catch a bid, oil companies and stuff that are going to get the deals. If anything, what we should probably do is try and figure out who's actually going to land this contract to get that XL pipeline back up and running and stuff. And it might be like Kinder Morgan or something, this conversation. Whoever the company is here, really, we should be seriously taking a look at that company. And these would be kind of the names that I think are going to get bid up into this spring, and things like Nasdaq. And unfortunately, I do think Bitcoin to a certain degree are going to have a bit of a technical pullback while all that happens. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. I suppose as another sort of anecdote of maybe the end of this little honeymoon rally in crypto, we are seeing quite a few names popping up here. Did bang out another double on one that I just picked up here recently today. So, and actually, I was even in there doing a little bit of shopping. Do you want to buy some shit coins? You know me. I mean, I absolutely love buying down at the bottom end of the range. And really, a name like this, probably the best way to see this, I think, is over here. Right there. There we go. So anytime, and I had this long conversation with all of you yesterday, anytime I can sneak my way in at or below 78.6 of the previous bull run, I'm going to nanny nibble all day long. Absolutely love that. So somebody brought this name to my attention. This thing might just sit here and flounder for the next 3 or 4 months. I'm totally fine with that. No big deal whatsoever. It is interesting at this very interesting trade location. You look at all the indicators and they're all in bullish divergence here. Willie was officially stupidly oversold. RSI is Wing out, moving higher. Volume seems to be moving higher here. Actually, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's go like that. I love when I see nice little tight W's in OBV indicators. Super sexy. And rock and roll. I mean, that thing looks like it's just ready to go. And this is the weird thing about this silly game is that I could sit there and go, man, this thing looks pretty damn good. It probably falls completely on deaf ears. Then you get like 1 or 2 big honking day rallies or some crazy ass event like this. And then everybody in the public's talking about it, but you missed the move, right? You're supposed to be paying attention when these things look like this and they're making these cute little W's and the indicators are all Wing out and pointing higher. That's exactly when you're supposed to be interested. Yet the public just, they'll come in here right at the top of the market and that's when they'll get all excited. So anyway, it's just business as usual, pretty normal. Came really close on this EOS. Look how close I came to banging out a double on this one. Oh, actually, no, this doesn't have it on here. That's weird. How about on this screen? Boom. Boom. No, not that one. Oh, well. Anyway, next sell half on a double order is at 93 cents. And look at it, hit 92. Now, do you think there was any chance they were running the market up and then they saw my big fat retail sell order sitting at 93 and they went, nah, you know what? Nah, screw him. We're not giving him a fill. FYI, this happens all the damn time. In fact, actually, I was somebody had asked me about RLC there, and I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm trying to do business. After I get my fill, then I'll talk about it. Because every time I publicly mention these names, actually, I don't quite understand. I know I had the levels on here. So if I just show you, here's another one. This is the thing that drives you crazy about DeFi is look where this damn thing is. I have an order to sell another half on a double. You can see there was my last sell order, right? My buy was down here. So there was Brian buying off of the W's. What a big surprise. Selling half on a double here, which actually the fill is right in that area there. And so we got another double here working it. And yet I can't seem to get a fucking fill on this thing. It's driving me crazy. Maybe I got a fill now. And usually they put little bubbles here. But this doesn't, I mean, this is driving me nuts. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong here. I've actually worked like 3 different orders to try and get filled on this damn thing, and I just can't get filled. And it now look at that, it's saying it's 8. And yet I've got my order here working, and it's not rocket science. It's just maybe I did get filled now finally. Oh, did they give? Oh, they finally gave me a fucking fill, the cocksuckers. Let's see where they filled me. It doesn't even say, does it? No, doesn't even say. So I think they probably gave me the fill at the price, like 7.1. I don't really care too much about that, but you can see I was working orders like a son of a bitch. I just couldn't get these bastards to fill the goddamn order. Anyway, good to see. There's another double. So I'm banging out doubles. I got another post I have to do here. And actually interesting how Bird Eye, I don't understand the logic of this. I suppose these servers are just too overwhelmed. I don't know. But there should be a red bubble right there now showing, sold another half on a double. So, this is the kind of anecdotal stuff. When you start to see these little pieces of crap start to move up egregiously like they are, that's a warning sign. Now, this might go on a little while. I'm not saying that it's over, but, remember last March, right? When I was down there in California. Chris, you remember when that was when Chris and I did a really cool road trip. And then we went all the way down to Central America. Wow, that was an experience. Half the time, I think I dreamt that. But anyway, you can see how they run this thing way up top here. And then just out of nowhere, they can just totally rug you. Hopefully, this go run looks something like this. And I'm going to be banging out a bunch of doubles and triples and quadruples and quintuples and whatevers. Interesting how Bird Eye just is not putting that red dot on there. I love when they did that. I'm not quite sure why. It's very hit and miss. But anyway, so the point here is that you guys have heard me say this repeatedly, so you know how this goes. What always rises last? So you can see this part of the market is now lifting. And actually, I think this win here is pretty close to a double trade as well. So that's good. Yeah, we're heading in the right direction. This account was originally funded with $500. We did get an NFT that was gifted to us that's in here as well. But, this was about 1 year ago. So ironically enough, if you can do better than 30% annualized return, then you've beaten 90% of all investors ever. You just have to consistently year after year after year do 30% return. So you tell me on $500, let's see what we got here. What is the total? I guess we'll work with that, but $1,500, I think, because that's with the NFT in there. Yeah. So what was that? That was 900 and change. Well, that's 100% in 1 year. That's not so bad. And considering I do like total idiot, no-brainer trading here, buy against the bottom end of the range, sell halves on doubles, blah, blah, blah. You know how the rhetoric goes. I'm not disappointed whatsoever. And if you can come back to me where you're consistently growing your portfolio, these kind of percentages, that's the goal, right? Ironically enough, on a $500 deposit, as long as I had, what would 30% be? That would be $650. After 1 year, I would have beaten 90% of all investors ever. So how do you think I'm doing? And the good part about it is I've got a whole bunch of wiggle room now. So, and interestingly enough, when that whole market melted back down there in the late summer and early fall there, this account basically went back to pretty much scratch. So it just goes to show how insanely volatile venture cap is. But if you play the game correctly, I think you can make money at this. Basically, I've been teaching people how to do this, exactly what I do. For the past 10 years now. I used to do this as a stockbroker in penny stock land. Like I said, over the past 10 years, we've been doing this in crypto. Banged out a nice win here on the this is the senior little old lady portfolio. So this is the junior little old lady portfolio. wanted to do a demonstration, start with 500. Let's see how much we can ramp this up over on Solana land. And this is the senior portfolio. We started this adventure with about 10,000 or so. There's still quite a few assets over on the ledger. Hell, I've got that Ubic over there, 70 fucking thousand of those damn pieces of crap. Also, Zugi's Fractures got a few $1,000 worth of that on the ledger, as well as a whole bunch of other names that I can't put on the Kraken exchange. So this is kind of cool. It's heading in the right direction. And really all I do is I just because the boys have set me up on Kraken, I'll just use that. And so I just mine the Kraken names. And this was the one that we banged out a double on here this morning. And this often happens. This is hilarious, but it's so cliche because in years gone by, I would, and I think actually I did tweet this out. I don't know whether I had a very weird morning. I was up at like 3 o'clock, so stressed out about the silly website and this funny little business model that we have up and running here. I honestly don't know whether. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But I am distracted by this little business venture partnership that I'm in right now. So as a result, probably not 100% on my game right now. But what the hell? Just got to roll with the punches. Anyway, this is a pretty good analogy of what I do. And every 4 years, and the good part about it is hopefully you get to the point where you're like, oh my God, yes, I know, Brian, it's all about the money cycle. Geez, you said it 100 times. It's going to drill it into my head. Now shut the fuck up and show me what to buy. What I'm really here to do is teach you why the market is a buy right now. Not, I've told you repeatedly, and I will always say this, I will never tell you what to buy or sell. I don't care what you do with your money. What I'm most concerned with is what I do with my money. And am I making money from trading? Banging out doubles, banging out triples. Actually, I banged out a 5X over the weekend. I was pretty proud of that one. Anyway, we all know where we are in this cycle. And of course, if you want your Bitcoin image, right? We are now officially into the summer silly season. But I also warned you too that, we can't chase, and we've actually run up into a very significant technical barrier. I'm a little surprised actually that we didn't tag 100 Gs here. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Bitcoin itself, like the futures did tag 100 Gs. So, they might say technically, well, the futures market hit it. So that's not, it's fine. Like in the year that, actually, I don't know that for certain. I better not say something that I have to take back in a minute. Let's go maybe up here, and then let's go BTC1 exclamation mark. I think that'll give us the futures. Yeah, so it looks like yield futures traded to $100,170. So you will see 100,000 print on the futures contract going forward. That's kind of interesting, eh? I'd also argue too, as any good technician, you should probably see, our conversation about what was that market we were looking at? We were looking at long-term interest rates. Is the universe a fractal? Well, you could make the argument that a head and shoulders pattern is basically a fractal. So something like that. So it does look to me like the yield corn has fractaled out here. Interesting, our moving average system. You heard Cotter talking about how much he loves that Brian's bias. I tell you, man, and this is the stuff that we teach you at TRI. There's nobody else in the in fact, there's only one other guy, and actually he was an old longtime veteran that follows the 13 EMA the way that I do. I love the 13 EMA. And of course, lucky 13, right? Nobody likes 13, so nobody uses 13. what I wanted to show you was good old Brian's bias. So you can see it here. Look at that signal. I mean, was that not kind of handy? That's sick. And I'd be curious to see where the hell this thing actually turned bull. Wow, way back here. So on this double bottom, and I suppose the technical breakout through this level, you got good old Brian's bias supporting the trade idea. Oh, come on, just go straight with your gee whiz there. So look at that beautiful breakout with the bias, and that signal did not turn until there. That's pretty cool. And it doesn't always spit out like the absolute perfect buy and sells, but the bias sure keeps you on the right side of the market. That's for sure. So right now, I would say the right side of the market actually is down. How ironic. But anyway, I guess what I was trying to mention was that the futures actually did hit 100 Gs. So yeah, it's interesting. Suppose also too, a great application of chaos theory. We could probably start coming up with some half decent downside objectives. I always like the idea, if you're thinking about chaos, that what we're really doing is we're asking in this part of the market, higher highs and higher lows, this is a bull. So the bull's in charge. So the bear, shut the fuck up, you stupid bear. You don't know anything. But clearly something happened here. We broke this market structure low. Then we rallied back up. And, if I'm a bull, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull. And we didn't. And we actually rolled over and we broke down. And we actually now have confirmed bearish structure, lower highs and lower lows. So this actually represents a very, very significant change in the dynamic of supply and demand in the marketplace. And you saw those kids on Twitter there through the weekend. Man, I watched my offering yesterday, the broiler chicken show yesterday. I will say I've got a really bad habit of swearing just too much. So my apologies to everybody. Even when I'm lamenting about how much I absolutely hate the political leader of my country, who really isn't a leader at all. At best, he was elected as a minority government. For some reason, he's just turned himself into a little despot here. But the point of the matter here is I got to try and act professionally and going, that cocksucking son of a bitch, I hate that motherfucking guy. That doesn't help. So my apologies, everybody. I watched the video back yesterday and I was like, ugh, Brian, bad showing. Anyway, gnarly old trader. What do you expect? Anyway, so the point of the matter here is that this is a pretty significant sentiment change in the marketplace. And so as a result, I think it's actually very important information. This was literally a war that was fought between the bulls and the bears. And I do believe that this low here and this high here actually define the battleground, right? This is Kursk. I think that's what it is. And this is Mariupol, or maybe I don't know, I'm just being silly. Ukrainian battlefield nonsense. So this is why I think that this chaos theory needs to be drawn off of these points, because prior this was the bull was nice and happy, then something happened and the bear took over. If you want to use the old bias to help you see that bull bear, fine. I would say use market structure. It works really well as well. And as a result, we can actually start coming up with some pretty realistic downside objectives now that the bear has exerted itself. And that is the old chaos theory. So boom. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. I didn't really use it myself, but I did watch Julian use 1.618 on his study. And then one of our site OGs asked one of these AI engines, what is the sort of mathematical significance at 2.618, 4.669, and 877, and do they happen to come into a series, and what's sort of like the common denominator? And it turns out that actually it's all based off of this 1.618 number. So I do think that this is significant and fascinating how the market basically came right down into this level and has just stopped. I do think that the logical destination I would have off of this double top is that 2.618. And oh, what a surprise. Notice the 200 period moving average on this hourly chart is basically sitting right there. So in a weird sort of way, it's sort of like, and I've talked to you guys about this before. Is it the tail that wags the dog, or is it the dog that wags the tail? Whoops. I wanted to clone, not delete it. So there we go, there to there. I wouldn't be surprised. Boom, 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 boom. We actually have to head down into here. And what might be interesting to do if you are one of those technician type people is, obviously the head and shoulders is nothing more than extensions. And think, anybody who's taken our education program, think of parking garages. And so the head and shoulders top, if you're going to use that as the neckline, 200% is the actual head and shoulders objective. So I don't know. What do you think, people? Can you see confluence starting to develop? Because this is really what we want to try and hunt for, to try and sort of come up with like locations for us to take risks in the market. I also like the idea that you've got some juicy tails. That tail was taken out, boom. So that guy's gone. I think the next sort of key juicy tails are right down in that area. So now you can start to see we're starting to get quite a bit of confluence. We've got the head and shoulders profit objective, 200% extension, parking garage, right? Think of this as one level of the parking garage, right? Like that. And this is the next level of the parking garage. Maybe we'll make this a different color. Something like that. So you can think of the market in this symmetrical sort of pattern. I often teach people that this is the way the markets move, floors and ceilings. This clearly was a floor. They punched through that floor. And interesting, you see 13 EMA is going to line up with that low now. So ironically enough, any kind of counter trend rally should run into significant resistance at that. And what we often suggest to people is that, the reason why the market actually bottoms here when it comes down into this level is that there's a whole bunch of bids all sitting down here because, of course, institutions buy down markets and they sell up markets. So heading into these lows, candle body low for trade location, there's probably a whole bunch of bids. The order book was fairly stacked up, and so higher highs and higher lows, I'm a bull market, rah, rah, rah. Then notice we came back down against these lows and they started eating into those bids, or, basically eating into the floor. So you can think of this as a parking garage. You can think of this as like an apartment building. You can think of this as a department store. Years ago when we used to talk about Dash and Amanda's Penthouse, anybody who knows Amanda's Penthouse, you've been around TRI and crypto for a while. In fact, actually, there was a guy on the site. It was like, I remember back then I wanted to have a Dash node so badly. Thank fucking God I never got one. Anyway, but this is a good illustration of the way markets work. So we had probably bid walls that held up the market on this event. They ate through the bid walls. And now the question is, do you now start getting ask walls that actually literally cement? Like they punched a hole through the floor there. And now the question is, do a whole bunch of ask orders all get stacked up here that literally what once was support now turns into resistance? That's the way markets work. And, it's sort of this whole concept of lower highs and lower lows is nothing more than the market punching through floors. And then those floors, though, there's a hole in the floor. And then a whole bunch of ask orders all stack up here, filling in that hole. And so now on a retest of that level, it gets rejected, right? Supply overwhelms demand. That's the definition of a bear market. And you can make the argument exact opposite works on the way up. So with all that said, it does definitely look to me like the old corn here is working a bear pattern right now. Not really a big surprise. One of the very first lessons I ever learned as a aspiring technical analyst was just simply the 50% rule. You've probably heard me say something like that before. I mean, in this kind of scenario, the question ultimately is where the hell do you start your study? I usually want to try and start it off with some pivot, and I think this looks like a pretty good pivot. We'll put all this stuff away for now. So, where is this market likely to actually find support? Like if I was trading with good old Kenny Roberts back in the day, I would just simply, oh, come on, you. Anyway, it's not exactly accurate. You get the idea. I would just simply throw on some fibs. Even let's start with good old Colin and the Pump Chasers. So there's Colin and the Pump Chasers. So 38.2, that should be our sort of knee jerk at any given. And if you've never heard this before, keep in mind this is a free broadcast we're doing with the public. For God's sakes, take screenshots, write this shit down, man. I mean, this is absolute gold, and nobody teaches this shit anywhere. Except, of course, in our education program. Maybe you want to consider joining our education program. Hint. Anyway, do you think it's an accident? 38.2. Look at the size of the goddamn hole in the charts right there. So my hunch here is that we're definitely going to have some sort of date with 38.2. The question here is, do we actually fill in the hole in that gap? Actually, that would be a really interesting tell going forward. Do we hold the gap or do we actually move into the gap? That, as I said, that would be very, very important market information for us going forward. All things equal, I would expect, and I think we even talked about this yesterday, I would actually expect a check of Mr. Wyckoff's off of that level there at some point down the road. So boom, Wyckoff, there he is right there. And, basically against support. And what do you think the odds are that this is like Mountain Man down in here? I bet it is. So we'll see what happens. Way too early to start like making predictions and stuff. What I would just simply say is market looks very tired here. Technically, the futures did trade to 100 Gs. Mr. Kramer obviously was on the know or something with regard to his snarky little comment there about Bitcoin never hitting 100 grand. I would actually say, folks, that the fact that Bitcoin, like the cash market, did not hit 100,000, believe it or not, especially if we can get like a nice consolidation here for a few months, that actually becomes extremely bullish down the road. Because 100,000 here, obviously huge psychological level. Futures have already traded to it. And keep in mind, if you're in, fucking third world nation like China, we're at 133,000 now. So we've already blown right through those levels. But it's interesting. In fact, actually, if you're a TRIer, you should look at this chart and say, actually, that's a setup that I learned in the level 1 program, the L Tangonator, right? Clearly, you can see we're coming into some levels. I don't know whether this is the top or not. We don't really have price structure, but you can see, oh boy, we're getting a hell of a lot of divergence starting to form up here. And more importantly, look at that MACD. I mean, this is whenever I show you these charts, this is off of a daily chart. So it's not like end of the bull market, like a weekly breakdown. But, I counseled all of you before, and of course, this is a core teaching of mine. What are we supposed to think if we ever see this overbought, oversold indicator, the yellow line, get above minus 20? That is not a bullish. I mean, ironically enough, it is by definition a bullish sign. They always say, in fact, actually, John Bollinger used to always say this. One of the most bullish or bearish messages you can get from the market is momentum oscillators embedding themselves in overbought or oversold conditions. Having said that, though, this is a terrible place to come into the market. And once again, I think that's been proven correctly. You come in and buy here, you can see where our keep us honest, good old Colin and his pump chasers, where should we expect price to come back to? And in fact, I think I remember we even talked about this yesterday, but we are using the US proxy. I suppose looking at this Canadian proxy, you can basically see there's like a shelf here on the volume profile right against these old highs. I think that was the Wyckoff check that I think I was talking about yesterday. But notice, look how that's right into that 38.2 to 50% window. And also, too, that's also basically a revisit of this trend line. So I see a lot of reasons to look for price to come back here. Willie being overbought in itself is not a reason to look for the market to come back to any specific place. It's a warning sign that, okay, you could be bullish, but don't go and spend your money here. Just wait for this thing to get out of that overbought condition and then maybe go and hunt some sort of long setup. The fact that we have a confirmed bearish divergence here in the let's get rid of that, in the price of the asset moving higher there. And of course, this is in Chinese dollars, so it's kind of a fun illustration. But ironically enough, it just, they're all universal. If we looked at it versus euros, you'd probably see the same story. But the fact that we have this confirmed divergence here in this MACD momentum indicator, to me, is another warning sign. So you have the market's egregiously overbought. The market is in divergence. The market has come an awful long way. Keep in mind, isn't this like a double? Where are we here? Those lows were 60, 68, right down in that low. And we made it all the way up to 138. So 68 times 2 is 120, 136. Didn't I say something the other day? Old gnarly commodities broker. What did we say? If a commodity price doubles in how long? Should we maybe be thinking about looking for maybe some sort of signs of reversal or something along those lines? Nope, it's not here. Where's the YouTube page? I don't even know if we're even broadcasting. That'd be funny if I was just sitting here talking to myself the whole time. Where's the YouTube page? Actually, I think it's this one. Hey, there we go. So by the time I get over to the YouTube page and I can see, I hope a number of you have written down what I asked you to recite. If a market what's in how long? That's usually a sign of some sort of maybe exhaustion move. Oh, look at that. Glass Insights and Meg are both silent. Wow, maybe you guys didn't hear this message yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Hey, there you go. Hafed. You're so awesome. If the asset doubles in less than 6 months' time, that's a warning sign that, hey, maybe things are getting a little ahead of themselves. Be careful. And the fact that Willie's stupid, none of us have any business coming in here on the buy side. I suppose you can make an argument there was, an opportunity down in here to sneak in when Willie got out of that situation. I don't know whether you would have had a trade there or not. This big honking W here, I think is actually probably a pretty good trade location. The breakout and just risk the whole W. I do remember, and this is the China D's asset, right? But I do remember when we were looking at at Bitcoin on the site. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was this one. Yeah, we had a cute little inside bar here, fire. And I remember even when this happened, Sjord woke up. It was like on a Saturday. And Sjord woke up and he goes, oh, this is a kind of interesting place for Bitcoin to be sitting here right now. It was like literally sitting right in the reload zone. And if you guys ever heard me talk about candle body highs and lows for trade location, that level right in there. And interesting, look how the candle body is almost exactly the same. So ironically enough, that still is a hell of a trade location, probably sometime down the road. And then, of course, this is, of course, a nice little inside bar, a little harami in there. I would call this a bull rammy because baby's feet are sticking out of mama's yaya. But the Japanese, all they care about is the body of the candle. So if the body is inside mummy's body, they'll call that harami. Regardless, that was actually one hell of a level right there, right? So anyway, that produced a pretty substantial move up. Woohoo! Then, of course, we got into the election. Remember all that fun we were talking about in the election? I might argue actually, if look left, where should we see key support? Those tails right in there look pretty juicy. That tail looks pretty juicy, and of course, that tail looks pretty juicy. That and my hunch is that would probably be something like like April, May. Um, so cash market, not really much to get excited about here. I suppose you could argue that head and shoulders top, that is that 3-bar fractal right up top there. Interesting. And if anything, this is an interesting anecdote about Tom DeMark and 8s and 9s. Yes, and if you do use Tom DeMark or you're thinking about using it, I like to have it on the charts. A good reference, but really good example. Here was this actually like, oh my God, you see 8s and 9s, Tom DeMark, that's a short, it's going straight down. No. In fact, actually, we turned around, we actually went to new highs. It does mean, though, that, maybe we need to do a little bit of consolidating, just a little bit of cleaning up. I might argue exact same scenario here. Doesn't necessarily mean that the market's going to puke out and really, maybe you call that indicator confirmation. And then the final piece you're looking for is things like price structure. Maybe the 3-bar fractal, if it did fire right there, that might have been enough to justify actual trade. It's interesting how we don't have any 8s or 9s on this push up here, but we finally did get that 3-bar fractal. And as I said earlier, lots of signs of divergence. Look at that. Now we're back over in real money. So forget about that stupid plastic garbage money that those Canucks use. In real money, you can see there's the MACD div, right? This is the daily price chart. Look at this RSI. Somebody asked Julian to give his comment on this RSI. When you see him on Thursday, he loves his RSI. Holy moly, that's a nasty, nasty message. And I might even argue too, here is, the way that I use RSI, that of course, that M there, that stops the bull. So if anything, if you were bullish and you saw RSI at like 85, you should be going, oh boy, this is getting a little dangerous. Then the M comes in, and this is our first sign that the bull is in trouble. And of course, I'd always color this first line teal, if you remember that from eons ago. Now, the question I suppose here is, did a second bigger M just get registered here? Of course, the second M, we always want to color that yellow. And that was the move through there. And you tell me, is this a strong, powerful sell signal? Because remember, yellow is the second, so that means that's the trade signal. Is this a really, really strong sell signal, or is this a relatively weak sell signal? I'd be curious to see whether, I think we got a bunch of people over there on Adam. You should know the answer to this. Over there on the YouTube page. What is the difference between a strong signal on RSI? And of course, comes off of the second M or W that comes in, and a weak sell signal or buy signal. Any of you guys know over here? Glass Insights, you know everything. So do you remember this? Anyone? Nice. Norray, total boss, of course. Eddie. Yeah, good. Nice Glass Insights. No, nice Meg. Wow, everybody's got the answer. Good. All right. So then by definition, is this a strong sell signal or a weak sell signal? It's weak. Very good, Meg. You are so smart. Very good, Hafed. And you might also argue too, especially Julian, right? He loves doing his RSI trend lines. My hunch is that's the sort of momentum trend right now. And what it looks like is we're probably going to have a nice dump into that level. And oh, by the way, notice where is 50? 50 is all the way down here. So what probably happens here is this thing goes like, then back up here, and then maybe we break, and then, oh boy, all right, now we're in a bear. And we've officially rolled over. But this is it's an ugly signal, don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to see M's. That definitely means the bull is on pause. And if anything, I do think that there's actually going to be a trade here, right? And you could even since the breakdown is there. Well, who knows what the rest of today is going to look like. I would imagine, especially with the way the Nasdaq's kind of rolling over and Nvidia looking ugly and stuff, I would imagine it's probably going to be pretty weak. But let's just see, number one, whether the market actually does close below this level. I guess on Wednesday, we'll have another free broadcast for the public, and we can review this. Somebody remind me. But the cool thing is you can just pull up the price chart and go, oh, okay. So that actual M, it's a weak signal, and it's coming as we speak here on this candle. So, if anything, this also makes sense too. I think you can make the argument that this will be sort of like remember we talked about floors and ceilings and eating through floors. Notice the market dump. It will basically be a Wyckoff check of that breakout. And also notice there's my friendly 13 EMA, which will probably also act as a bit of support. So yes, market's heading down. We are working a sell pattern right now. Of course, we do have that 3-bar fractal top up there, so that makes sense anyway. And of course, if you want to head on over to the futures, we can, and I suppose you probably see it on these as well. But if we just pull up our futures, I think it's this head and shoulders top that's just working away here. And that relatively weak sell signal is probably going to take us down. And I guess the breakout. Oh, interesting. Look at that coincidence. So on the cash market, right, we said that Wyckoff check is basically that level. And then, look left, where is the most recent key support? It's these tails right in here and that tail right there. So my hunch is basically at the head and shoulders objective, probably going to see a bit of a pause, which would make sense. And then, as we had shown on this RSI study, well, that's the Chinese, on the RSI study on the cash market, which I think was this one. Nope. Is it this one? Yeah, it must have been this one. Excuse me. I think probably going to get a good deal of support against this trend line here. That would make sense. And then also too, as I've been sort of pointing out here as we go, a lot of these kind of trades are popping off for me. And the problem here is that, how am I going to make this easy for you? Just give me a nice, simple answer. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Are you supposed to be a buyer if you see that indicator look like that? Sup, BB? Oh, I've been talking for an hour? Holy moly. I don't even know where the hell the time goes. Brian, I just realized I'm on 3-minute delay. Oh, okay. Well, let's everybody sit. Let's talk about Adam right now, and then 3 minutes from now, he's going to get all upset. He's going to be sitting there, and all of a sudden, his ears are going to start burning. He's going to be like, "What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?" I put my jets in the freezer. All right. I mean, the good part about this, hopefully, if you did actually step in and buy against the bottom end of the range, is you're banging out doubles right now, right? And you're laughing. Woo! Look at me making money like a boss, all that kind of talk. One that's actually perking up that looks a little scary is good old Zugi's FXS. Look at that damn thing now. Missed a pretty good trade there. So that's the definition of being unlucky. Look how close I came to my bid getting filled, and then the damn thing just takes off. And that would have been another double. Oh, Jesus H. Christ. And this is an interesting anecdote too. Like, do you think it's an accident that these assets have all rallied up? I couldn't believe this one. I got an order working at 93 cents and they took it to 92, the bastards. But again, I mean, are we supposed to be thinking about buying assets that are looking like that now? Be careful with your hard-earned money, folks. And what is the Beamish trying to do here? Is he trying to buy here or is he trying to sell? Let's see. Actually, I'm pretty close to getting a fill on this guy. Bought him there at 22, so 44. Oh, you can even see. There's my order. So a little bit further to go on this guy. I don't know whether we'll be able to get there or not before the end of this run. If I'm lucky, there's one more pop. But can I come in on the buy side? Actually, this guy isn't done just yet, is he? He's still got a little bit more room to go. So that's good to see. Having said that, I don't think it'd be a good idea for anybody to come in and buy there. That's just asking for trouble. So actually, I think I banged out 3 doubles today, and I got 2 doubles off yesterday. I mean, is that not the definition of the end of a move? Sounds to me like it is. And what's funny is people always get angry at me in the market. What was it? Was it Cripple? I think it was Cripple. We knocked a huge win out here. Might have been that, or it might have been Stellar Lumens. I think, you know what? No, it was this Stellar Lumens. This is crazy. I mean, markets are not supposed to move that far that fast. Come on. If anything, you get these big pops and then you get like a violent pullback right back down into the previous breakout. Big pop, violent pullback. Big pop, violent pullback. Big pop. Oh, that's the end of the move. Oh, sorry. Big pop, violent pullback. One more big pop, and then violent pullback, and now all these people are trapped. See you later. I mean, the good part about it, I might argue that on a relative basis, I think that we're sort of like, believe it or not, I actually think we're like in this phase right here. If we use that last cycle's trough, we still got a long way to go here, folks. And keep in mind, these cycles, they don't, this cycle does not turn for like over a year. Right? This is a long window, folks. Right? Here we are here, and the top of the market is here. That's 49 weeks. That's, in fact, actually, that's a bit surprising. Shouldn't that be over? Oh, that's kind of weird. Oh, yeah, I guess because it is already November, right? Well, anyway, 52 weeks in a year, right? So this is going to be a long slog. Try and somebody remember this conversation in the middle of the summer. You're going to be like, oh, God, yeah, remember when that market broke out and that election and stuff like that? Because so much shit's going to happen here over the next 6 months. You're going to be like just spinning. So anyway, so just finishing our thought here. This XLM was such a great example of, all I did was I looked at this previous range, and it's the same story that I had with you when I walked you through the I think it was the Cripple trade yesterday. And the same thing I said previously about this one is I was really surprised that these two move in such lockstep. So all we did was rally right into good old reload zones. And as soon as I saw that, this is exactly the same trade that I did yesterday and walked you through. Yesterday, I hit the midpoint of the reload zone. This guy here, I also at the same time had this study here, I think. something like this. Oh, come on. It just won't go down to the bottom there. Sorry, just give me a second. All right, there we go. And then we'll go boom. All right, let's see where the hell this takes us. Oh, it's backwards. All right, let's go reverse. Boosh. All right. Whoop. Oh, something weird happened there. Let's try that again. Reverse. Hey, there we go. So that was weird. Yesterday when I drew this out, maybe it was because it was that. Yeah. I saw 61.8 and this midpoint of this Foggenbaum, and then that 4669. I was just kind of like, you know what? Let's let them have some. And this guy here, I bought all the way down here. I had more buy orders working here, never got filled, fuckers. But anyway, that's just the way it goes. So when I saw this move here, I was like, oh my God, I mean, I'd be an idiot not to take some money off the table. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this thing's probably going to take a while, but I wouldn't be surprised. Now we can just simply, very first thing we should expect, of course, good old first stop targets and Colin and his pump chasers and all that. So interesting. That would just be a pullback to this 2.618. So my hunch here is that we probably come down in here, and if this is some sort of bull flag, then we make like one low, two lows, three lows, and away we go. Yeah, so that's what I'd be watching for going forward. I might just go and buy the position back. We'll see what happens. This would just be a trade. Of course, if we break that low, that's your risk window. If we go down here, you got to get the hell out. Right? It's just simple as that. You don't want to overthink this stuff. You want to keep it really, really simple. Then I would just load up good old reload zones and just work stink bids down at the bottom end ranges. Notice this is in fact a setup we have on the site called the shark setup. That basically this is bullish structure. This 78.6, Brian's favorite fib. You just work your bid right off of this level, anticipating the market come down, boink, fill, hit that Wyckoff check level, 78.6, get your fill, and then it heads back up. And actually, even in the library, I have a really good example of that. All right, anyway, that's basically the broader market and what I'm doing in crypto land right now. If markets head up into double levels, triple levels, quadruple levels, whatever, I'm taking some profits, and I'm even actually spending a bit of money. I was surprised that there were a couple ideas that actually looked very viable this morning. Here's another one. Worked a stink bid off that guy. What do you think? I don't know. Does anybody see any letters of the alphabet that Beamish guy probably is going to be excited about? So really, I don't have a problem being long off of that level there. I don't have a problem being long off of that level there. And keep it really simple. Right down to one simple indicator, throw my bid in, and have a bid working there at 22 cents. See if I can get filled on some sort of pullback. So there you go. Gave you an idea that I did buy today. Although I'm not quite sure why it's not on the list here. Maybe it's over here. All right. Oh yeah, because I'm filled, so it's up here now. So actually, I'm feeling pretty good about stepping in there. I remember that 78.6 conversation. I don't mind buying that. Nanny nibbles. Don't really want to take too big of a bet. Just nice little manageable bite sizes. All right, let's and for whatever it's worth, I suppose. Yeah, we don't have enough time. I'm already burned through a lot of time here today. We'll probably leave it at that. Oh, and then, just to finish that thought off on the gold, do we really want to be a buyer of gold with the gold chart looking like this? And remember that seasonality I showed you earlier? In fact, actually, there's the study. So we've had this conversation before. This is the seasonal window for gold. Do I really want to be too bullish here? I mean, maybe it does this. I don't know. But is that starting to look like maybe an M? Uh-oh. There's the July window. There's that October window. That was a pretty damn good rally. ironically enough, and let's see if you guys can remember this. What are we supposed to buy in the middle of February? Supposed to buy something. Who can remember? We buy our the middle of February. We sell at the middle of May. We made money 9 out of the past 10 years. I got to be a little bit more specific than that, Meg. Is that the stuff that comes out of your bum bum? Just kidding. A winter coat. Hey, did you see that Cleveland Browns play the Pittsburgh Steelers there the other day? You better have your winter coat now. It's snowing now. And if anything, that makes sense, right? Buy when it snows, sell when it goes. Like literally, did it start snowing election day? It must have. Anyway, unleaded gasoline. So here's an interesting trivia piece for you. If you're expecting unleaded gasoline and crude oil and energy prices to move up in price, what direction should you expect gold, silver, copper, platinum, palladium, and all the rare earths, etc., lithium? What direction should you expect those to be moving? Hint, hint, hint. Not the same direction. So minus 26. Holy crap on a stick. And I bet you a lot of these people coming from India are going, what the fuck have I got myself? Suckers. No, I'm not going there. No way. I mean, why do you think I live in Vancouver? And I pay these outrageous rents and outrageous food bills. So trust me, I my pocketbook definitely feels it. We got it for any of you people that doesn't know. Back to 60K. I don't know about that, but anyway. Okay, let's head on over and look at the Q&A document because I would be remiss if I didn't give that specific attention here. Question is, which screen is it? Is it this one? Hey, there it is. All right, so remember yesterday we had a bunch of questions. I didn't actually have enough time to answer them all before I had to go. So number 3, I think, is where we left off, right? Like we talked yesterday about what's value and what isn't. I don't think MSTR at 22 times book is value. I think that's a bit expensive. Hi, Brian. Why did Sjord's Tuesday show disappear? That's a damn good question. I don't know how we convey this to Sjord, but I have told him repeatedly that Tuesday spot was absolute gold as far as I was concerned. And I really don't like the fact that he's just decided. Well, I don't even. The sad part about with this funny little partnership is I don't even know who makes the decisions around this place. It's really frustrating. But I completely agree with you. This company is it's falling apart, which is such a shame. That Tuesday show is absolutely boss. Absolutely love doing that. So I don't know. I think probably the person that you have to ask, whoever asked this question, remember I always asked you guys to put your names on here. Nobody puts their names on here. So there's a great example. If this was my company and stuff, I'd be like, put your name on here. Don't put the question on here because I want to talk to you when I answer your question. Anyway, they were super useful. So if anything, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut and paste this and I'm just going to give it to Sjord. Right. And I'll even say to him, for whatever it's worth, I agree with this person. Douche. Yeah, absolutely love this. So maybe with your request, and maybe Sjord to watch this afterward, maybe we can convince him to come back on the Tuesday broadcast, or Maybe we have to change the time on this because he's in Europe. It just doesn't work for him. I don't know, but I 100% agree with you. So, and, as I said, I'll say I passed this on to Stuart, and maybe he will come back. Question mark, question mark, question mark. All right, and then there's all this. All right, number 4. Hi, Brian. For some reason, hitting the 78.6 fib level on these newer meme coins isn't working out too well for me. All right, well, how many reasons are you supposed to have to justify taking a trade? I've noticed a lot of times it hits this level and then just dies. All right. Sometimes it will then drop to 88.6 and look like a setup is forming, only to then drop off a cliff, never to pump again. And that's these meme coins? Well, we're supposed to be rational investors. So that should theoretically mean that we inject some sort of fundamental analysis into our work. So, should it surprise us that, for lack of a better term, shit coins have no fundamental value and it's all just a Ponzi? Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Is there some other strategy needed when trading these meme coins over traditional crypto? I would just simply say is, what is your setup? What do you like to use, right? It should go location, indicator confirmation, price structure, go. Now, that's trading setups. You're going to get a much, much higher rate of accuracy in your picks if you follow that process. You probably heard from me that I don't mind just throwing bids in at things like 78.6, but especially like in Solana land, I got a lot of fills through like August and July when I was expecting the market to bottom in May, June, right? Which is pretty typical. And usually the market, moves off of those lows in the summer, and then we have some sort of late summer rally into early fall, and it just never materialized this year. And a lot of these shit coins, meme coins, whatever you want to call them, they fell off a cliff and they just never came back. So, if anything, maybe now you're asking yourself, well, am I really a little old lady? Am I really putting some money to work in the marketplace and then going on and just living my life? Maybe we can check in, have open orders working at your double levels and not really getting too stressed about it because you just don't have that much money to work in any one name. Is it possible? We've often suggested to you that the venture cap reloads on, and especially with like things like Solana and the piece of shit names that really have no value to them at all. Maybe you might want to say, you know what, I buy Julian's favorite fib 88.6s. But just keep in mind that that's just one reason, right? Just because the market trades to 78.6, that doesn't mean it's going to absolutely bottom off of that level. I just like the idea that if I am going to go in and nibble, take a shot, I just want to wait for a nice 80% pullback from its peak. And I think I'm getting stuff on sale. But maybe the asset is just a total piece of crap and it was a pump and dump. And it might take a year for the thing to actually bottom out. And it could happen that being substantially lower than 78.6. I can show you plenty of these little POS coins that all went far beyond 88.6s. And yeah, I went and nibbled, but I ain't doing a hell of a lot right now. In fact, half of these names, right? Half, probably 3/4 of these names. And then when I start to see them actually W out, this size probably is a good example. There we go. So, and actually, I wanted to, I think maybe off of Bird Eye because you can actually see the orders. Although I don't know why they're not showing it there. But look at this one. I mean, you could argue that this was 78.6 off of that range. It's probably a hell of a lot more. There, all the way down to there. You might also, too, with these guys, maybe consider about changing your studies to log scale. That way, 78.6 of a log scale move is much, much more than 78.6 off of an arithmetic move. Now, can I at least change this? How frustrating these computers are, I tell you, driving me nuts. I'm going to have to move it around because I can't seem to edit it. There we go there, and then to there. So you can see there's 78.6. This one here, I didn't come in till over here. I mean, that's way beyond 78.6. But watch what happens if this will work. Wow. What the hell's wrong with this piece of shit? Don't like this website. I'm not really overly impressed with this Bird Eye. I know Adam really likes it. I'll try and refresh it and see if we can do something here. So, rule of thumb, if you're playing these little pieces of crap, do you want to buy some shit coins, all that kind of talk? Well, it might be in your best interest just to wait for W's to actually start forming before you actually go and spend money. Why can't I get this thing? No, there it goes. So we got log. All right. Now you got a little bit of a different picture. Then not quite sure what that low is, but if we say go off of that, oh geez, the damn thing's backwards. Let's maybe go off of that low there. Then we'll go settings and go down here to fibs based off of log. And now you see 78.6s are basically right in that area where I was buying. So maybe that's your solution. Think about drawing log and doing bids off of 78.6s. At the same time too, though, you can see where I bought and look at the pain I had to go through there for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I had to sit there and do absolutely nothing waiting for this damn thing to bottom. Could I have been all along here nibbling away, nibbling away, nibbling away? Sure, but I already hit my maximum risk threshold on this purchase, right? Little old lady's not supposed to put more than 5% of their money at risk on any one single place. So I hit my 5% threshold. So I just got to sit there and do absolutely nothing. And sure enough, my double order was filled. And now I have a second double order filled. That's the vulgarities of playing venture capital. If anything, that's probably a very good illustration for you. Now, you might have said, well, okay, it looks like, Brian, you're buying this W, because I think that's probably why I stepped in there, and I was just going to buy the W level and then buy sort of like the reload zone of this particular range, 78.6 kind of idea. But even that didn't work, right? You can see this was a long, ugly, tough slide. But because I took the little old lady approach to this, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Just sat there and just wait, just be patient. Sure enough, here comes the market roaring back. So I don't know that that answers your question, but this is probably a really good illustration. And now we should even put here order to shod Filled. It's too bad this stupid bird eye thing doesn't put that red dot there. I don't know why it doesn't. But anyway, that was at 7 and change, eh? And that was at 35. So 35 times 2 is 7. I think that's right. 71, whatever. So I'm just banging out doubles here right now. But this is probably a good example. Why don't we go here? And we'll go here. 35. So somewhere in that area there. Boom, boom. And we can say Manny nibbled. What do you say? Bag hit limit. Now wait. And I had to wait and wait and wait all the way to there. So pretty good example. Not bad. What is a trader's life if you're going to do this little old lady strategy? Something like that. And what was that we said? Wait 6 months. Imagine that. You had to wait 6 fucking months to double your money. I don't know if you've ever been to a bank, but they're not going to double your money in 6 months' time. Sorry. You'll be lucky if they double your money in 6 years' time. So where is that? I think that's this one, right? Yeah. So hey, Robert! Somebody actually put their name in here. Oh, thank you for placating me, Robert. So I'm going to say here, really simply put, I do not have a crystal ball. So I have no idea what will happen in the future or how long it may take. LOL is built specifically for those who are not concerned about sitting on their investment and letting it work. Is there a guarantee you will make money with any purchase? No. Having said that, if I force myself to come in and buy at the bottom end of the range, often if I just sit and wait, price will work its way back up into take profit levels. But honestly, you just don't know. Here is a good example in meme coins of that approach. Second double booked today. Well, hopefully this maybe gives you something to think about. Oops, I thought I had the link. It was just the image. All right, what screen was that? That was this one. So, Robert, are you watching right now? Does that help at all? I hope it does. And thank you for at least telling me that your name for placating the Beamish. All right, number 5. Hi, Brian. How does the current bull run relate to the expected bull run in late 25? Are we having a mini bull run now or what? Yeah, that's not a bad. I think we've walked everybody through this a couple times, so I don't think it's really rocket science. Woo, look at that oil just melting down. I tell you, the interesting thing is that probably most of you have learned this education program. You don't believe the fact that we're actually in an anti-commodity cycle right now. And 2035, you're going to see much, much lower commodity prices. I'd be willing to bet most of you do not believe that. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Right. So I wanted to wonder where the best place to do this is. Simple review. Don't overthink this stuff. Seasonality. This one. So really nothing out of the ordinary here whatsoever. Nothing at all. This was my crazy ass, just what we like to call squiggly line theory for the win. I wouldn't really expect this to play out the way that it is, because this would have us wait till the middle of July before we actually see a big break higher. I mean, it might, but I wouldn't be surprised if it follows somewhat along this path. Yeah, interesting thing you could do. And, I do like the idea of the parking garage here being a bit of a short-term resistance. And then as we, showed you off of the other charts, we'll probably get the Wyckoff check against the previous breakout high. And notice, this year we assume that it would get all the way up here to 2.618, 4.669s. This might be the extent of the move. I doubt it. So I still think that we sort of grind our way higher, but I wouldn't be surprised if we've got the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Remember, Joey's got his family over, and if anything, he doesn't want Bitcoin to be really strong into that Thanksgiving holiday weekend, because then he's going to be looked like a fool in front of all his family. So my hunch is that probably into the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, we actually get a bit of a pullback. Then we sort of work our way through the turkey hangover, maybe just go sideways a bit. But I do like the idea that as we sort of push our way into inauguration, we make some sort of cycle peak. That to me makes a lot of sense. I think Trump's cadre. Where's Eddie? We were going. I want my elephant. Who knows what reference that's to? Anyway, Akma, how does it go? Ayatollah Akmala and his cadre of fanatics are consolidating power as we speak. Anyway, his cadre, Trump's cadre, I think actually there's quite a few sort of very friendly crypto people. It's just we're so close to this US Thanksgiving holiday weekend that I do think that maybe we need to take a bit of a pause here. There's probably, keep in mind too, there's probably a lot of guys that made a lot of money and they're sitting on some pretty fat profits. And it is interesting too to hear about guys like Warren Buffett. He's just getting the fuck out of the stock market altogether, which is very interesting. I don't know what this first 6 months of the new year is going to look like, but I wouldn't be surprised that what we see is like, just very normal. We can even change this. I don't know whether we get this deep of a pullback, maybe. I guess, I guess that seems realistic because this should be our Wyckoff check. Remember, when we did the volume profile, the profile looks like that, right? So we're probably going to bang down into the top of value, right? That kind of thing. There's your profile, right? So that would mean if you are playing Bitcoin, that you probably want to look for some sort of entry around that 61.8. And it might come all the way right back down to this original bottoming level. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. You know, there's a whole bunch of trap bears in here that would love to get released. And of course, there's Brian's favorite fib. Maybe we come all the way down to Julian's favorite fib. You don't know. I mean, I wouldn't get into the business of predicting the future. So I do like the idea that Cole is looking for a pretty big, ugly event around this March eclipse window. And I do like the idea, you know, the Ides of March, that usually is a pretty important pivot. So if there is going to be, remember we also talked about the first 100 days. So my hunch here is that that first 100 days, it's going to be a whirlwind of, you know, the Republicans wanting to jam through massive legislation. I'm also hearing too that mysteriously, like 2 or 3 weeks after the election, this is how fucking crooked our society is. California is mysteriously finding votes for Democrat politicians that were just, oh, they were forgot to be counted. And so it turns out actually the Democrats won the congressional election in California. You can't be serious. Like, it's stunning how brutally corrupt this shit is. And they pulled the same shit here in British Columbia. Exactly the same thing. I tell you, I think the west coast of North America has been taken over by the CCP and China and Winnie the Pooh. Because, like, literally, the shit that you see happen on the west coast of North America is exactly what I would expect to come out of that fucking shithole CCP crap, Winnie the Pooh stuff. But I'm not supposed to swear, so mind your P's and Q's, Brian. Very, very suspicious. God, it's so heartbreaking because I spent my whole childhood just idolizing California. I lived in LA. I used to play on the professional tennis circuit. I used to, in fact, you know, the first time tennis was introduced to the Olympics in 1984, I was right there for that whole fucking thing. Anyway, so don't be shocked if, you know, through that first 100 days, there's some pretty tumultuous shit going on. And also, too, you know, we have to keep an eye on whether Mr. Trump's going to be accidentally unalived by these people. I mean, it's stunning how brutally corrupt our society is right now. Anyway, so if you're asking for sort of my prognostication, and then of course what we usually have is rally into the spring, into May. You've often probably heard me say, when in May, sell in May and walk away. Maybe that's when we can run up and tag things like 4669s into that May-June pivot. That would make perfect sense. And interestingly enough, if we even just drew a really simple trend channel here, you know, maybe something like there to there, right? Something along those lines. Then we drag it up there. Yeah, probably something like that. So boom, 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 boom. I like that. Usually we get a bit of a pause the first week of, well, let's say the majority of June. But usually the market actually bottoms. Let's see if we can move this back a bit. Usually the market bottoms about the last week of June. Like, if you want to write that down, that's usually a good reference. So if we think the last week of June, that's this week right here. Right, June, and the first week of July, usually we have that US Labor Day weekend. Kind of think about, you know, Thanksgiving here as a big holiday weekend. Markets love to pivot through these, but especially this July 4th holiday weekend. Usually you get that sell in May and walk away. And then the market's like soft for like usually the full month of June. Then into like the first week of July, things firm up. And that is where I think we set the base for our ultimate rally peak into wherever this cycle is ultimately going to take us up top. So if you were asking me to draw some sort of roadmap for you, what I think our year is going to look like, I think it's going to look something along these lines. Yeah, we'll see. Only time will tell. We could probably do something like that, something like that, something like that. And of course, it's always backwards. And then something like that, something like that, and then something like that. And there you go. Right? Takes us right up top there. And, if we're really lucky, into next fall, everything is just over the top insane orgy bull, which is usually what usually happens. Maybe if we're really lucky, we even get a nice little blow off top even beyond things like this trend line. I could very easily see anywhere up in this area. Notice the next foggy. Usually these markets like to top her out around that 877. So I wouldn't be surprised. And of course, we've talked lots about this 240,000. There's actually a bunch of reasons to look for 240,000 here. So I kind of like that thinking. I wouldn't be surprised though if, and keep in mind we eyeballed this, right? Maybe this pullback in June takes us back down to the bottom of the channel. And then that way that takes us up there. I don't know what's going to happen, right? We'll have to, just roll with the punches as we go. But my hunch is we probably look something along those lines. So there you go. Why don't we add that and we'll say, I will just simply say, no idea how this looks, but am thinking something along these lines heading into this fall. All right. Now our last question. Hi, Brian. I don't have all the crypto positions I wanted, and now the market is taking off. Well, join the club. Do you expect we will get one more decent pullback to accumulate before the insane parabolic part of the market finally kicks off? Thanks. Well, I might argue some names it already has. And remember ebb and flow, right? At any given point in time, all you're going to just do is just keep drawing your reload zones and see if you can sneak in on pullbacks. That's the smart thing to do. Ironically enough, you're saying, oh my God, it's a runaway bull. But I look at this image and I go, that doesn't look like a runaway bull. So cool your jets, go slowly. There's no hurry. And if anything, if we take out this low here, everybody should go, oh, what am I supposed to think if I ever see the market smiling at me? And I mean, that thing looks like it's got a head of steam behind it. I don't think it's going to stop just yet. So, what we could do is, of course, if this M does fire, then that means we can start thinking about Faga bombs, which means we can start thinking about chaos theory and downside objectives. And I might argue, maybe we'll go like a daily chart. There we go. So just off of this little intraday top, interesting how 877s do nothing more than just take us right back down to that recent bottom. 4.669s do nothing more than that Wyckoff check kind of idea. So you can kind of see that the levels that we talk about, things like Wyckoff checks, the market's kind of setting that trade up now. And I also like this 877 as a nice stab against this trend line and a nice support there. And what do you think all your wonderful darling cryptocurrencies are going to do if you see this total market cap? And, it's not going to move in a straight line, right? I mean, look how long that top took to develop. Look how long this top took to develop. So my hunch is whatever top this is, it's going to take weeks. It's not going to happen in like a day or two. So, here, for example, that's 57 bars from sort of that point there where we were face ripping up to that point there where we're actually face ripping down. I would say same thing here. And how long did that take from us face ripping up to us face ripping down? Again, about another, and this is a daily chart, so that's like 2 months. So could we have a scenario where this top, whatever the hell it looks like, starts sort of here, but it takes like a month or two to actually start working its way down? And remember our last conversation about looking for a dip into that sort of March window? My hunch is that Ides of March, the end of the first 100 days. That window to me looks like when your next sort of buying window should open up in earnest. Right now, we're in the process right now. And if you didn't buy, well, you missed it. There's not much you can do about it. But we're in the process right now of all of these names just slowly popping off into double levels, right? Is that this one? Yeah. So not this guy. I mean, hell, maybe this guy goes through this window. I don't know. But I mean, this isn't rocket science what we've done, right? These little guys here, they're popping off right now. They're spitting out these free trades for the pros. And the irony of it all is that if you did want to buy this, Williams percentage R, should I chase? I mean, the answer to all that shit, right? Willie overbought, right? If you did want to buy, there's no reason why you just can't. It's not rocket science, same old shit. Just throw your bids in down in reload zones and just work your bid. That's the way I would approach this, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Now, to that person's comment there just a minute ago, though, you could have said, well, Brian, I did do that. And I drew my reload zone here and I bought right here and I had to sit underwater because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Look at the pain that I had to go through here as the market worked its way and even broke these lows. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going broke. It's the end of the world. But I've told you, uh, what's so bizarre about trading is notice this thing comes back and puts in the damn W right off that freaking 78.6 level. So, the market does what the market does. I would just simply say if I missed the boat and I really wanted to buy this thing, you can either throw your stink bid in off of that level, which is what I would do because I work a ton of orders and I'm watching a bunch of different things and different types of markets. Or you could, and I've done this on a number of names. I mean, hell, you all see these. I have my alerts, not this screen, over here. I mean, a lot of these, I have so many orders working that I've basically run out of capital on Kraken to work an order. So I just have to set an alert. And really on this one here, what I should probably do is just simply drag that up to that tail right there off at 78.6. And if that alert goes off, then I got to get off my butt and make sure I've got orders working to buy. So you could do that, but I don't think it's a good idea to chase. Just be patient, be disciplined. I mean, ironically enough, you want to know what the trend is on this market? Well, that's the trend right there. So you could make an argument that really this thing coming right back to the trend line is exactly what's supposed to happen. This is the trend. Anyway, hopefully that gives you some food for thought, right? We'll say, you are here now. If long, spoon feed. And we'll say, as but one example, and then we'll say, if not long, set alerts, be patient, and wait for RLZs. And if they don't come, then they just don't come. That's just the way a trader's life is. So my answer to that question is just as simple as that. Where are we here? Let's go over here. And we will go boom, boom, boom. And we'll say, as noted in the image, if you are long off the bottom, then you are in spoon feeding mode. You always hear Shirtoshi talking about spoon feeding. I love that about him. He's so fucking good at this. The best part about it is I will show you the path. This stuff, it never changes. I mean, God, you could have lived 100 years ago and done exactly the same thing that I'm teaching all of you right now. Literally, you wouldn't use a computer. Everything would be on paper. I'm not really reinventing anything here. And really, a lot of the time, I don't even take ownership of a lot of these ideas. I literally, acknowledge who it is that taught me, and what historical figure actually came up with these ideas, decades, even centuries ago. So spoon feeding, that's an expression that gnarly old brokers used to teach me years ago. If you are not long, then draw your RLZs, be patient, and wait for corrections into acceptable trade location, i.e. RLZs. And it's just that simple. As noted in the image. All right, so we'll just do it there. So there you go. And all of you can use this as reference. If anything, it should be a fun side project. How many names that have gone crazy like this can you draw your reload zones, set alerts, and then in 2 or 3 months' time, let's go back and see how many of these names actually dipped right back into reload zones. Some will, some won't. Okay, I think I'm probably done there. I guess the only other thing to chit chat with you a little bit about here is the dashboard. I'm getting a lot of questions about the dashboard. Ideally, we wanted to have the email notification system up and running by time we had this Black Friday event coming. I still think that it will be up and running. So really it's just simply a question of do you have like screeners that you have created, and are there default screeners that TRI has created that you can just simply get things like key reversal signals in your email? We also and the answer to that is yes, but this is very, very hard work for Sjord. He is trying, I think, as best as he can. Is there any guarantee that we will have this up and running by the time this Black Friday event window comes? No, there isn't, and it sucks. I basically challenged the team 6 months ago. Could we have a marketable product for the Black Friday deal? I will say that the team the impression that I'm getting is that they are trying very hard, but unfortunately, sometimes in life you don't make the cutoff, and it sucks. I don't know how long this site's going to take to get to the point where I feel as though this is a solid marketable product. I would say just subscribing to the dashboard and being able to look at things like the market overview on a daily basis gives you a pretty good idea of what the breadth of the market is trying to tell us. And, anybody looking at this image should go, geez, that market looks pretty damn uppy. As well, too, I think I've demonstrated over time that when you get the histogram signals of the market being either extremely overbought or extremely oversold, at the same time, that's usually a very powerful message that the market is sending. Of course, I don't happen to have one just right here off of the screen handy, but I think we actually, and of course, dealing with this charting program is always a challenge. I think we had an example of crypto got a little bit over. Well, actually, there's so back. Yeah, you remember back in the summer, I think it was. We actually had crypto spit out a pretty powerful signal. Maybe we can even go over to the crypto page and look at that in particular. But you can do this for the entire broader market. This happens to be the S&P 500. But you can actually look at all of these different sectors all exactly the same way, like I just said there. And we have these default images just on this breadth page that you can just simply peruse. And I do remember us talking recently, I had specifically said, especially in our TRI SOF club, that, hey, we ought to be paying attention to the utility stocks. And ironically enough, one of the screeners that is in our tool belt that we're trying to have available for you actually had a really cool algo signal that spat up recently in the utility sector, and that was been watching the model here like a hawk here over the past where are we here over the past couple months. And it's interesting, breadth indicator. I should be paying attention to the utilities and the bond market. And interestingly enough, the bond market had a huge jump here today. Hugh Hendry, of course, is all uber bullish of bonds. So if anything, that makes perfect sense. And what I found super cool, you can get these signals in your email on a daily basis. You can see all the signals. If anything, I've almost bitten off more than I can chew because I have European, American, crypto, everything in here. And there's just too many signals. But I've basically just been following it along. I have a simple strategy, and I've told you, when we talk about futures or when we talk about things like banging out doubles and stuff, we really want to try and sell half of whatever the position remaining is on multiples. So 2 times risk, 4 times risk, 8 times risk, 16 times risk. And you can see there are a bunch of names here that have all spat out like 2-to-1 risk, but we do have some names that have spat out like the Solana. That was a really good signal. So if you follow crypto, you could very easily just go on your dashboard. Of course, when that's available, we should do a nice little summary of how to get those signals set up in your email. But that's what the Solana and Australian dollars has done. Absolutely insane move. What I wanted to show you, and I don't know whether we can here. Usually, it's a little tricky the way that Sjord has built this. And again, this is going to have to be hashed out in an actual video tutorial. But to actually see the screener results, I know it's a pain in the ass. It defaults to the DeFi or the Delacorre index. That you have to click on this, then go grid view, and then you get like all the signals as they're being generated. Like, look at that cute little fractal signals that's coming in on this PPG today. Look at that nice Weyerhaeuser signal. That looks pretty damn bullish off of that fractal. Uh, Hopefully you look at this and go, yep, okay, there's a bullish fractal. Oh, there's a W. Whoa, look at that. There's a nice big honking bullish engulfing bar. Of course, that's also a 3-bar fractal. So you can see this system is spitting out signals in real time, doing everything that we wanted to do. This is the 90-day RLZ with RSIW and bullish fractal, right? So now the key here is, now if I go back, because I've done that, if I go back and click on this now, I think you'll see how they, and really, you don't even really need to see this. All you want is, oh, what does the signal look like in my email, right? So this is the system. There is the reload zone identifier. Here is the candlestick identifier. So when you scroll along here and you see that the number actually changes, that's the signal that a 3-bar candlestick fractals come in. You can see there's the RSI signal that it's come in. This is the Fibonacci, so hunt longs, hunt shorts. And of course, here is the RSI study, and you see that the RSI spits up a score because this has got a W in it. The point here is just, and really most of you are probably like, Brian, it's great that you've built this, awesome, whatever. All I care is I just want to make money from trading. So really, this image is really what I think is most important, right? Just nice little signal, boom, 2-1, booked a nice little win. And at this point, you're laughing. Stop at scratch on whatever you got left. We are filled here. And then and really that means you've booked a profit. Now you've got a free position on, and you're just going to spoon feed as the market moves higher. And I mean, the great part about this is, guess I don't have that image right here, but if I pull up my sheets, no, that's stock market. Let's go back to, where is it? Must be this one. Yeah. I have like a running list, trades that hit at least 4-1 and still working. And look at this. I mean, this is so beautiful, right? There's the RSI Ws. There's the market down at the bottom end of the range. There's the bullish fractal, right? Here's 2-1, that little win right there. That was that image that I just showed you. Here's 4-1. So you can see there's 4-1. That's the next target. That was hit right there. Here's 8-1. That was hit right there. Keep in mind, stops at scratch. You just keep letting this work. And then we just had 16-1 just get hit. So, I mean, this is ideally how you want to manage money. Try and get yourself into a winning trade. And then just, as my funny little expressions, just let the market get you rich. Just don't be in a hurry to walk away from this trade. Just let it keep working. So really, really good example of, on your email, you would opt in to get the cryptocurrency signals from the reload zone. And you could call this the 3-step setup: trade location, indicator confirmation, price structure, everything we teach in the level 1 program. Go. And boom, you got a really nice trade off there from the system. So that's ideally how it's supposed to work. As I said earlier, the great part about this platform is, you can, I mean, everybody should look at this and go, holy crap, I probably should be thinking uppy here with regard to the stock market. I mean, it's interesting. Look at Europe. Europe actually looks pretty good. There's Canada. It's already off to the races. It looks to me like the stock market is heading up, not down. And more importantly, stock market's not overbought. And this is the information that I think justifies subscription. You want to see what's sort of hot in the marketplace? Here's a nice little cheat sheet. These are all the assets that are actually the strongest in the stock market. EWA, I think that's like the Australian ETF. And I suppose Well, I don't know. Let's let it load. I think it's maybe it's Austria. Australia. Oh yeah, okay, there you go. I mean, you can see the crazy ass. There's a cute little W that came in right there. That's pretty. This is the strongest ETF out there in the investing universe, right? And everybody should look at this and go, these charts are a little bit of a pain in the ass to work with. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. And eventually, as we work our way over time, I think Stuart would like to try and move us off of this charting thing and use things like TradingView. But you draw like a downtrend line off of that peak, and really any kind of W on the other side of that trend line. I mean, I don't know whether the DI is giving us a great signal here, but hell, we could probably even. I'm not quite sure. I don't think I can change the indicator here. Can I? Hmm. Uh, I have to ask Stuart how we manually change the indicator. I've forgotten just off the top of my head. But anyway, point of the matter here is this is like the strongest ETF in the world. And I got to say, if this big honking W fires, you can see this cute little W. I mean, you can see this thing wants up. All right. You could probably even draw trend lines here. And, this thing's probably got like a bull flag working here. So this is a perfectly handy little tool, XLY. Who's that? That like consumer staples or something like that? Consumer discretionary. Well, I mean, that's Allen, right? Julian loves his Allen stock. So you can see the bull flag and you can even see the cute little double bottom that's coming in there. Maybe you hunt a setup off of that, off like a 4-hour chart. But these is absolutely the strongest part of the market right there. And you get that in a nice little summary every single day. You can see what's actually strong in the stock market, right? We got lots and lots of symbols. I have a feeling that probably a lot of the S&P 500 is actually very strong right now. But at the same time, too, you can also ask, well, what's weak? What should I avoid? This is interesting. This is saying avoid the Japanese yen like the plague, avoid the British pound, avoid the Swiss franc, avoid that's corporate bonds. That's interesting, and avoid the euro. We got a bit of a theme going on here, maybe. Avoid the British pound, avoid the Swiss franc, and avoid the euro. Is that not handy information? In essence, should we maybe be bullish of the US dollar in here? Looks like it. And what's the US dollar index been doing lately? It's been going crazy. So the system right here is keeping you on the right side of the market. Avoid this shit like the plague. Remember, we talked about the utility stocks earlier, right? And actually, I never even got to that. This XLU is one of the strongest ETFs. That's probably an area that you should pay attention to. Remember, we looked at the breadth and we went, yeah, son of a bitch, look at that goddamn thing moving up. And what was super cool was that, it turns out that the screener actually wants us, and let's see, I'll just, before, to save time. XLU, did we get a signal from XLU anywhere here? Let's see. We did. On the 13th of November, XLU, 1-year reload zone with RSIW and price W. Stuart, we're still working on getting this 1-year reload zone tool working correctly. But the point of the matter here is there's XLU. Let's see what happened here. Did this produce a half decent looking trade? Not bad. So not only is the system telling you that the XLU is super strong, the breadth is telling you the utility sector is really strong. The automated 3-step setup spat out on the 13th of November there, a big fat buy signal on the XLU. And if you had just taken that, would you have made money on that trade? I think you know the answer. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to use this. It's pretty straightforward. The cool part about this is you can take this. I mean, this is why this tool is so powerful, is we can take this much, much further. I'm thinking, I mean, this is the actual algo. And if you want signals, I mean, fucking A, they're awesome. You can actually drill down the entire investment universe and just look at asset by asset by asset. I'm really interested in what those currencies were saying. I want to just see what does the currency breadth kind of look like? Because geez, a lot of them look nasty. Oh yeah, look at that. It is working a bear pattern. Oh, and it actually looks like these currencies are getting a bit oversold here. Do we maybe have the potential for some sort of pivot here? And then, oh, there are all the currencies. Let's see what these charts look like. Do we see any W's maybe potentially forming? Because keep in mind, these assets are very, very weak. They were on like the worst performing ETFs in the market. No W there, nothing to look at there whatsoever. Can you see why on the leaderboard these currencies are so weak? I mean, you should look at this and go, actually, that makes a lot of sense. So the dashboard itself is trying to tell you, maybe avoid all of these currencies. I mean, it works really, really well. And then, like I said, well, I want to take a good look at these. Let's see if there's any maybe trading opportunities. There might be something that's happening in the Australian dollar that is technically an inside bar. Do we get a W that forms here? I want to keep an eye on that. It's interesting how the Australian stock market is so strong, and yet the Australian dollar is really weak. Do you understand the correlation between countries' currencies and their stock markets? I.e., if the currency is going down and the company sells products into the US market, but they do all their accounting and bookkeeping in Australian dollars, how is that stock going to act in the Australian stock market if the Australian dollar is heading down and the British pound is heading down? How are British companies that sell products into the US market? Keep in mind, the US market is the only fucking market in the world now. How do they do? And would it make sense, looking at our breadth indicator, does it make sense looking at these currency charts, euro currency going basically to rat shit? Does it make sense that our breadth indicator is like, if you own European stocks, wow, they're probably going to rally? Does that make sense? Is this usable information for you to try and understand the context of the market? Why does the Canadian market look the way that it does? Oh, maybe it's because the Canadian currency looks like shit. Let's take a look. Where is the Chinese currency? It's got to be on here somewhere. There it is. Does that look like a bull market? And if you're a Canadian company and you sell goods and services into the US market, and then you collect US dollars and you repatriate them back to China, are your profits going up? If the currency is collapsing, do you get more Canadian dollars when you convert those US dollars back to Canada and report your profits in Canadian dollars? Can somebody give me some feedback here? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Do you understand the power of this platform? Anyone? Absolute crickets? Really? Oh, that sucks. Look at that US dollar index go. Holy fuck me. I mean, if you don't understand the significance of this stuff, then maybe what you need to do is get your butt into the education program, work with me for a year, and then you will understand how all this stuff works. Maybe that's what we have to do. I know there's one guy who said, look at the only thing I care about is to just tell me what to buy and what to sell. That's the only thing I care about. And I hate to say it, folks, that's not what this place TRI is all about. No, interesting. I spent 10 minutes trying to explain the incredible power of this platform. And yet, actually, we just lost like 10, 15 viewers. God, it drives you nuts. I mean, obviously this community is rather crypto oriented. So could we use this same logic in taking a look at potential crypto investments? Sure, why not? Where is Sjord's crypto top 30? We used to have a huge crypto universe, and I'm not quite sure why Sjord got rid of it. Now we're just tracking the top 30 names in the space. Hate to say it, folks, but I think we had quite an overbought situation there in crypto about a week or so ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. I think on balance, the market's actually trying to calm down, even though there are individual names popping here. But we can do the same logic. Let's just pull up a grid. And the thing is good luck in trying to find a grid like this anywhere else on the internet. I don't think you'll find this anywhere. I've gone to Coin Market Cap, and you can see I was joking about Frankenstein there yesterday. Oh, Ulan, where are you? Litecoin's up 2%. I mean, you can get like a daily chart, but you can't get, or like an intraday chart there, but you can't get like a daily look. I can actually look at the entire crypto universe here in just one glance. And you tell me, do you see a lot of W's here? I don't see many W's. I see a lot of markets that have moved very far, very fast. I don't see any W's here, which means that you probably shouldn't be risking your hard-earned fucking money. I mean, you can see SHIB. You can see exactly where the W is, right there. Does that mean you come in and buy here? No. How about this Solana? Should you be coming in and buying, you as a professional investor here now, not some fucking monkey idiot who doesn't know what they're doing, Gucci sweater wear idiots? Should you be coming in and actually investing your hard-earned money on something like Solana way up here when the 200 period moving average is way down here? How about this Lido? How about this SUI? How about this TON? How about this TRX? Are you getting the message? Is this of any value to a professional trader? This is absolutely invaluable. This is like it's worth its fucking weight in gold, and it's so easy. You don't have to click many symbols. And it's super cool. I mean, maybe we can get the entire crypto universe back. I don't know. That's up to Sjord and his plan. But I do before, and on Tuesdays, we have our secret options formula club meeting. And what I do before I head into the secret options formula club meeting is I just load up the S&P 500 and I can look at every single stock in the S&P 500. Now, you see what the breadth looks like. Do you think I'm going to be seeing a few W's here? Maybe. Well, let's pull up the grid and let's see what we got. Is this worth, what, $70 a month subscription? I think so. Oh, hello. Second image that pops up on our screen, Apple. There's a big fat W staring you in the face. Is that of any value? Abbott Labs. There's another W. Look at this wide W on Arch Capital Group. If that thing breaks out through the top there, oh boy. Look at this W, Archer Daniel Midland. And look at this cute little consolidation right here. I mean, this is so easy to use. And all the information is just sitting right at your fingertips. It's fucking awesome. Look at this, Align Technology. I guarantee you, I'm going to be talking to the kids tomorrow night. That looks like an inverted head and shoulders. And look where the 200 SMA is. It's all the way up here. I tell you, man, this platform is fucking incredible. Look at that, advanced micro devices. I think there's a guy named Cotter who's been saying, "Give me a fucking W there, and I'm gonna jump all over that son of a bitch." And my hunch is Cotter's gonna make some great money. He's a very, very smart individual. But I mean, look at this Aeon. That's a beautiful bull flag. That's like a cup and handle pattern right there. Is that a W? That's what I'm trying to teach you all. Look at this Apache. Look where the 200 period moving average is. Look at this beautiful W here. Now, are you getting it? Can somebody give me some feedback here? I don't understand this. Do you understand now? Please, just yes or no. Do you understand? Just on it. We've only got through the A's here, but does it make sense why this breadth indicator looks the way that it does, just even with the few names that we pulled up there? It's pretty fucking cool, man. So I don't know how we can pick that apart to make some sort of marketing message. And really, we're just scratching the surface of this thing. I mean, when you sign up for the pro package, right, you get Brian's pre-built dashboard. I pre-built these screens because this is what I wanted to see. This is my 1980s website brought into the 21st century. Hell, we haven't even talked about the weekly commodity trend survey. Don't you remember we talked about, I don't know, maybe about a month or two ago? And we had fucking about 20 different names that were either spitting out buy signals in crypto or were attractive. Do you remember this about a month or two ago? When the breadth indicator for crypto was down here and it was issuing these, oh my God, the market's oversold kind of message. Do you remember that? All right, that was, let's see if I can do this. Please let me do this. All right, that was over, oh no, is it gonna let me do it? Oh yeah, right here, right? You see, this is the value of this product, folks. So back on October 9th, do you see crypto egregiously oversold in the short term, oversold in the medium term? That is a buy signal. And do you remember when we pulled up the weekly commodity trend survey? Like literally, this entire list was either buy or attractive. Do any of you remember that? Now look at it. Do you have most of the list here? The weekly commodity trend survey is saying, you know what? This market's a buy. And I hate to say it, but no. In fact, look how many numbers and wow, this is shocking. Look how many names here are now under the avoid category. Are you guys seeing this? Chris, are you here? Is anybody here? Mr. Glass Insights, do you see how this tool now here is telling us we actually should avoid a huge chunk of the crypto market? Now, like this ADA, for example, why would the system be saying avoid? Well, why don't we pull up the chart and you tell me? I mean, fuck, I've been barking here for the past couple of hours about all of this. I mean, it's all interconnected. It's quite shocking how cliche all this is, but let's pull up the ADA chart. Now, you tell me, is that Brian Beamish guy going to give you the green light to go and risk your hard-earned money buying ADA here when we know that the bottom is here? What do you think, people? Do you see the value in just having this tool at your disposal? Is it worth what is it? What are we charging? Like 70 bucks a month, right? Because we really want everybody to sign up for these Black Friday deals. And it's like, I think it's like $1,000 a year we're charging, which is like 70, 80 bucks a month or something. Is this in your interest to have this kind of information right at your fingertips so you can understand what the fuck you're getting involved in here. Excuse my French. And now I guess I'm getting a little frustrated because to me, this is absolute gold. And I'm just shocked that the feedback that I'm getting from business partners and stuff is that this is useless. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. Canadians and their damn French. I don't know. What do you think, Chris? Did I give the platform a due explanation there? Did I show any value?
I think you did. Nice and thorough. Well to the point.
All right. It's now 11:48, so I've literally been barking at you for about 2.5 hours. Hey, Chris, if you could maybe timestamp when we did start this little mini tutorial on using the platform, I'd appreciate it. And could you do that for me? All right, cool. And then that way, Josh, if you're watching this after the fact, maybe you can just cut and paste this out. And somebody remind me on Wednesday, we will walk through the rest of these pre-built pages that are Brian's tools that he likes to use, including sort of my daily review of what the hell's going on in the market and my pre-built, have any of you ever heard me talk about key reversals before? So on Wednesday, we should probably go through this page and talk a little bit about the value off of this. And then on Friday, I think we'll finish off with, hopefully Stuart will have this finished, how you can actually go through and just filter the entire site. This is still, I think, under construction. Actually, look at that. It's getting better. So this is just sort of like your one-stop shop to literally get all of the signals that we have built into the system just at your disposal, like what signals were produced today in a nice little filterable list. So I think we'll do this demo on Friday. But I tell you, I mean, whether it be the overview and the breadth and understanding the context of the broader market, or whether it be the individual algo, the three-step setup signals, or whether it be the weekly commodity trend survey to sort of have you positioned correctly based on the higher time frame trends, or whether it be actual technical signals that we have and setups that we have built into this model. I definitely think that the subscription is definitely worth the price. So if anything, what I would like, if all of you, I see that there's about 40, 50 of you watching now, and anybody that's watching the video afterward, if you could please post in the comments whether my explanation impressed you or explained why I'm so enthusiastic about the platform, what questions you have so I can specifically address your concerns. And the great part about this is all of this is integrated with both your email. So technically what we should be able to do is all of these kind of signals that are on the system, you can actually have an email that's sent to you on a daily basis with exactly what it is that you want to get in your email. So as well too, we have all of this integrated on the Discord. So we have Discord channels that spit out all of this as well. So I tell you from the bottom of my heart, we have worked really, really hard to provide value here for you. This is like our dream to get this platform working and humming along. I would really, really like to be able to continue this with you all. I'd like to continue working with Chris. By you subscribing to the actual dashboard, you are not only, subscribing to the platform and becoming part of that sort of user base, but you're also ensuring that I can continue doing these videos. I really hope you understand that. You by you participating on the site now, maybe it's you are participating in the education program. Maybe you're just in the very basic site subscription package that lets you participate in the lounge and access the library and watch all of our videos on a regular basis. Maybe if we're really lucky, I've actually shown you the value in getting these kind of signals, market structure levels, and our pro signals, the 3-step setup signals. You saw that signal on Solana. You saw the signals on the utility sector. Maybe you're like, you know what? I think this is worth subscribing to, and I think this is information that I can use. The point here is that you are keeping this program going. You're keeping Brian's ability to do these 2-3 hour videos with you for free. Because keep in mind, no way Google's ever going to pay me any money with my potty mouth. We make no money. We have no corporate sponsorship. And as a result, I can speak to you from the heart. There's no conflict of interest here. I'm not trying to sell you any sort of coin. You must invest in this to make us all rich kind of stuff. None of that. And it is crunch time, folks. I'm going to just be completely honest with you. TRI we're coming down to the wire here. And I would absolutely love to hear that a bunch of you see value in this and you take advantage of this Black Friday event deal and either, maybe even gift a school program to a family member as your way to help. I don't know. Or, like I said, take advantage of the deep discount for the dashboard here coming up. All right. I think I've said my piece for the day. Slow and steady wins the race. PMA for the win. Love you all dearly. I'm here to help. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. The only thing left to say to you good people is, hearty, bye for now.